This is HBR News number 490. Ashley St. Clair accuses Musk. Germany comes for misogyny, where we discuss the news of the week and give it the Badger treatment. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. Hope you guys are doing well this week and that you're laughing at all of the absurdity so that you are not consumed by it. I am your host, Brian. I'm joined by, as always, my lovely co-hosts, Dr. Random Cam and Hannah Wallen. On today's HBR News show, we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking about a 60 Minutes interview with some German officials that are planning to fight against online misogyny. We're going to be talking about Ashley St. Clair, who has made an allegation against Elon Musk on Valentine's Day, no less. A woman castrates her husband, and more. So stick around. It's going to be a time. It's going to be the time of all times. I don't want to say a good time after that last story, but and be sure to join us afterwards for the patron-only show. So I figured, in light of the fact that apparently TDS has evolved into EDS, which is Elon Derangement Syndrome. Elon Musk brought one of his children to the Oval Office to discuss the findings of his team over at Doge, which, of course, I support because I was Doge before there was Doge. I'm like the Doge hipster. And
I always wanted to pronounce it Doge.
You pronounce it Doge?
Yeah, because I'm not French. But we lost the war over that. Just like GIF won the war over GIF. Doge won the war over Doge.
Yeah, I think Doge actually makes sense because it's dog, and then you put an E on the end of it, and yeah. But then again, there's the Doge of Venice, so maybe it kind of works a couple different ways.
It sounds like a cute mispronunciation of dog, much like Dolan.
Yeah.
Dolan.
Dolan.
The Donald Duck cartoons. We couldn't figure out if it was Dolan or Dolan, and I wanted to say Dolan because it sounds like a mispronunciation of Donald, which became all the more funny when Donald became the president.
Is it?
Dolan, please.
Now I just picture Donald Trump talking like Donald Duck instead of talking like Trump. It's just, if you can do that voice. But anyway, I digress. So we have an article from sometimes I can't find something to talk about. And whenever I'm like struggling to find an after show topic, I just go and see what Arwa Madawi is doing. Because Arwa Madawi of The Guardian is always good for a cringe article. I mean, I don't know if she gets paid to do this, but she has to come up with something every week, I guess. It's called The Week in Patriarchy, her little segment. So maybe she's not doing it as often because of all of the money that's been found and all the various USAID programs that have been shut down. But she has opined, she has a take on Elon Musk bringing his child to work. And she has this article called Elon Musk Keeps Bringing His Kids to Work and the Reasons Aren't Cute at All. So
because Mussolini did the same thing, damn it.
Did he?
There's a picture of Mussolini with his kid on his shoulders. Wait, just in the.
So, are we getting canceled? Take your daughters to work day now?
Only when it's sons. Only sons.
Oh, I see. Okay,
yeah,
so it's
come on,
only
pay
a
attention.
problem when it's
Keep
boys.
up.
Okay.
He's got 13 children now. Why
I was just wondering about that because she didn't say. She said kids.
Yeah. No, it's that's true. But it appears that he's mainly just talking about his son.
Why isn't he bringing all 13 of his children to the White House?
We'll get into that.
Why is X his favorite? And why is he called X? That's not cute. He's going to grow up weird with a name.
Yeah. Oh, you're buzzing, Mike.
Oh, God, sorry.
Yeah, you got to mute. I'll let you know if you buzz when you come back. Okay. So we're going to be looking at that in the patron show. If you want to join us in the patron show to talk about Arwa Madawi and her takes, you have to become a badger yourself by going to feedthebadger.com and setting up a monthly subscription. $5 a month will get you into our Discord server where you'll be able to watch all the additional content as well as participate in all of the various activities. I'm sorry, I'm a little burpy because I'm drinking some fizzy water while I'm talking to you guys. And I won't be doing that in the patron show, so you'll be relieved of that like experience. So anyway, yeah, please go to feedthebadger.com/subscribe to be a part of that action. And also feel free to send us a super chat by going to feedthebadger.com/just-the-tip so that you can send us a message. And the benefit of that is that you can say whatever you want. You can make it longer than normal because super chats have a limit on the characters. And you will not give Google your money. So there is all of those things I think are big pluses. If you want to help fight the censorship machine, one of the things you could do is not pay them. Or you can just send a Rumble rant because the Rumble gang is there and they are also on point. So anyway, so that is feedthebadger.com/subscribe, feedthebadger.com/just-the-tip. With all that said, we are going to get into today's stories, starting with Germany. So let's talk a little bit about Germany. So in Germany, where hate speech laws are strictly enforced, online misogyny appears to be the serious topic. And specifically, they're calling out anti-feminist content on the internet, places like X. There was a 60-minute segment that showcased how German prosecutors and police conduct raids to curb hate speech, including misogynistic content online. German law not only prohibits overt hate speech, but also extends to actions like spreading malicious gossip and violent threats, which can include misogynistic attacks. Now, bear in mind how they are describing attacks. We're talking about online harassment, online words. And this kind of like, I know that Hannah's going to say a lot about this because we did a show yesterday where we looked at some of the programs that are putting money into this. So anyway, reposting false or harmful information about women can lead to prosecution. So not just making content, but just like liking a post that they deem to be misogynistic. Okay. State prosecutors like Dr. Matthias Fink, Svenja Majinghaus, I'm sorry, these are very like weird moon language names to me, and Frank Michael Law have explained that these measures are crucial to protect democracy, putting in quotes, by preventing the spread of harmful rhetoric, which includes misogynistic content. Their enforcement involves actions like simultaneous raids across Germany targeting individuals for offenses such as posting misogynistic cartoons or threats. Penalties might involve fines or imprisonment for repeat offenders. While these actions have sparked debates about freedom of speech, which Germany does not have, German officials assert that such enforcement is vital to safeguard democratic values and societal peace. Okay, so Germany. You're at it again, guys. It's like, look at your track record. That's all I'm saying.
Apparently, we have ways of making you shut up. And sorry. Now this is something that you should be looking at the U.S. government and wondering if they've contributed to this. We found more than one source when in the last few weeks on HBR Talk, and then yesterday on, was it Originating that was on yesterday?
Yeah, it was Rant Circer. I mean, if it's me, Allison, and one other person like you or Karen, we just call it a Rant Circer.
Rant Circer. So we looked at the same thing. We looked at the first Thursday. We looked at one of the same things. We looked at the first Thursday, and that particular organization was funding research into how to make this happen. And they were talking about doing it in other countries. They operate more in second and third world countries. I don't know if Germany counts as a first or second world country. I don't think it's considered third world yet. I know they've had a lot of changes in the last few years, but they've been heading this way for quite a while. I've been kind of watching because I have some people who follow me on Twitter, and they've basically been using the history of necessary denazification as a means to fuel this sort of other nazification. I don't know how else to put it.
Well, they're over correcting like huge. It's probably a lot worse actually than it was.
Doing what looks on the surface like overcorrection, very much. But the leadership, the people that are behind it, they're not overcorrecting. They're just correcting. They feel that they lost too much control, that they're not being allowed to do the things that they need to do in the country to make it compatible with a one world government. And those uppity men are criticizing the frauds, and that you can't do that. You can't criticize the old ladies. So you have to deal with this by shutting people up. And this is how they do it. They start by pretending that women are victims of online violence. And they had to create this concept of online violence in order to do this. You literally could just get up and walk away from your computer. So no harm, no physical harm can be done to you by something that somebody calls you or says to you. And a defamation is already an offense of some sort in every first world country. You can sue for it. In some countries, it's criminal. In some countries, you can actually go to jail for defamation already. So there didn't need to be a new law to specify that defaming women specifically was a bad thing, because it's already bad whether the person that you're defaming is female or not. The thing that has to be proved, however, in regard to those kind of laws is that the statement was a lie. And what they're doing now is including in the concept of harm and defamation. If you tell something that's true, if you say something that's true, but it's politically incorrect or it's upsetting, right? Then it's suddenly defamation or harassment or hate speech. So now, if a public official creates a policy or promotes a policy that gets created and imposed on you, and it causes problems for everybody, if that public official is female, you can't complain about the policy or the problems that it's causing, because that's upsetting and it's politically incorrect. And therefore, you're a misogynist if you don't like it, right? That is really no different than how the Nazis started out. You can't criticize what we're doing, or instead of being a misogynist, it's you're a Jew lover, right? So really, it's kind of the same attitude, very different means of getting it across. One way is to make you subject to a prejudice that everybody has against a group of people. The other is to make you subject to a prejudice that everybody has if you don't have a prejudice in favor of a group of people. So there's kind of a little layer there of added, it's a prejudice against a form of thought, independent thought. And it makes it more difficult, I think, for people to see. And I think people are that are getting subject to this are going to have a harder time arguing against it. And I don't know if taking the American funding out of these projects is going to change it, because I think the German government's all in for this, so they may fund it themselves.
Maybe Art4 is German, I believe. He lives in Germany. He's one of our subscribers. He might have a comment if he's in the chat.
Yeah. Our only hope to help the German public with this is to make it blatantly obvious how bad it is by presenting the opposite example ourselves as a nation. And that's going to require a lot of continued work to maintain the direction that we're going right now. But I can't even tell people to hang in there, because I don't really know what's going to happen in Germany.
Yeah. Well, Germany is probably one of the most demoralized countries in all of Europe, if not the most demoralized, after so many decades of shame and guilt. So, as a result of World War II, that they've never come back from that. I don't think they've ever come back from that. That's why they're probably one of the most woke countries in all of Europe. But Another thing that I didn't mention in the write-up is that they will confiscate your phone. And the fines are like higher than other fines that are more serious, like $3,000 or something for like online activity. It's ridiculous. And we've covered censorship and social media, like authoritarianism in Europe for a long time. I remember when they tried to ban memes, like the Pepe meme, way back in the day, in the glory days. So like this has never really changed, and as long as there is like the EU is calling the shots, and there's this kind of like woke, like we're better people than, I don't know, you filthy Americans kind of attitude when it comes to freedom, because like they kind of like view American freedom as disdainful because we are okay with people being mean online, at least like American citizens, and maybe not parts of our government. But yeah, so like they have to change culturally in order for that to change, and that starts with them like they have to stop apologizing for shit that they're not responsible for. So,
and I want to point something else out about this too. You notice in Germany, you can make disparaging remarks about the German people. You can't make disparaging remarks about any immigrants or any group of people that are not German, and you can make disparaging remarks about men, and men are not allowed to complain because that's misogynistic.
Well, that's the thing. That was the primary thing.
Stopping hate. It's that Mike points this out all the time. Oikophobia.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You sound good.
Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
Well, I was going to say that the thing I wanted to highlight specifically was because there's a lot of things that they're, calling hate speech, but that's not what this channel is about. So I'm not going to get into the other stuff that they are big on censoring, but specifically, it's interesting that they're calling out what they call anti-feminism as hatred, as anti-woman. Obviously, this is an old trope that we've heard a lot, but this is a serious problem for them because there's a lot more people getting the word out about all of the dysfunction and all of the destruction that feminism leaves in its wake, and people all over the West that are online are learning about it, especially young men. And I think that's what they're worried about. It's like they're losing the grip, right? The grip on the culture that they had, because it starts when men realize that like they have that the system is against them, I guess you could say, or that there are systems in place against them, and that they have to like be unafraid to speak out. And a lot of this has to come down to criticizing the narrative that is, implicitly puts men in the worst possible category. And they're doing that, and they're calling, and of course that would be anti-feminism, and they're calling that the thing in particular that they're trying to target.
There's a pretty solid population of men going their own way in Germany, and like solid enough that they have their own networks, they have their own forums and everything. And I know this because my blog gives me information on who clicks on and so on, and who shares my links to my blog, and where if I get a lot of views from a particular share, I'll find out where it was shared, and that led me to a German MGTOW forum, and because I had an article on there, I think I called it a question of respect, where I explained that women in general do not understand the concept of respect, so when they demand it, they're not demanding respect, they're demanding veneration, and they don't even understand that they're demanding something different than the word they're using, what it means. And I gave an illustration based on an experience I had that was just profoundly stupid. And that got shared all over, that actually got shared all over the world. But that told me something right there. Germany is having the same problems that the United States is having, that Canada is having, that the UK is having, every nation in the world is having, with regard to gynocentric intimate partner and sexual violence laws and gynocentric family court systems. And because there wouldn't be MGTOW if there were not those problems, not in the numbers that you need to have a forum where people are sharing information and stuff. And this is probably partly a response to the fact that they have a growing men's rights movement there and a growing manosphere there. And they're having to deal with the fact that men are not obeying the gynocentric, manifesto, the gynocentric obligations that the government needs them to obey in order to be controllable. So, yeah, this I hope that we can see this turned around. But if you're in Germany right now, just be very careful. Keep your head down.
Yeah. You can hear me, right?
Yep, yes, we can hear you.
While I was busy sorting my microphone out, you said most of the things that I was going to say. Tempting though it is to insinuate that this is all Germany's fault, that Germany is ground zero for the anti-nationalist sentiment that's spread all across the world. It would be more accurate to say it started with that false proclamation that it's all Germany's fault, and by extension that it's all the fault of nationalism, especially of the Western persuasion. And it does seem like ever since World War II, the West has been hell-bent on doing the exact opposite of what the National Socialists did. And that means no more nationalism, nothing even resembling nationalism, even if it's patriotism. No, that's just a euphemism for the mustache man or whatever. I'm like, does that not also mean no more socialism? No. The National Socialists were nationalists. I mean, it's in the name. You can't argue with it. But they were not socialists. They only called themselves that because socialism was so popular at the time. They were riding a bandwagon. Does that not indicate that socialism was part of the contagion at the time? No, we need more socialism and no nationalism. We need to transcend. We need to transcend nations, yet proceed with socialism to the nth degree. In fact, we need global socialism. Is that not just national socialism, but with extra goose steps? No. And it's disheartening to me that so many people who used to criticize gender socialism, i.e. feminism, have since then almost entirely fallen away from that arena and are now laser focused on the immigration problem. They've flipped right back to, we need to save the women from the bad men. Women are taking too much responsibility, and men need to be punched in the face. And I'm like, bro, you could get rid of every immigrant tomorrow. I mean, you won't because you've left a bunch of feminists in charge. But even if you did get rid of every immigrant tomorrow, they would all come back the day after tomorrow because you left a bunch of fucking feminists in charge. Feminists hate men, but especially their own men. They blame all the world's problems on whichever men they can get away with blaming. And so they import men from other countries in order to punish and replace their own men. They don't care how many of their own women get abused en masse. It's a small price to pay for the sake of ridding the world of those dastardly European men. So it needs to be said, if you're going to go ahead and ignore the gender socialists in your own country, the feminists in your own country, dare I say the women in your own country, while you relentlessly blame everything on whichever men you can get away with blaming, then you are the feminists. That's exactly what feminists do. You might be a more xenophobic flavor of feminism, but that will inevitably land you right back to the oikophobic kind. That's how we got here. It started with quote unquote white feminism, where they're all hell bent on aborting black children, but it inexorably evolved like an evil Pokemon into intersectional feminism, where they're all hell-bent on aborting everyone. Chaos breeds chaos. It will always circle back to the origin of the chaos. A lot of you are out here going, German politicians are only creating these draconian anti-male laws because they're so overrun with these immigrant men. That's what it's for. They wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for the immigrants. They wouldn't be doing this if they had a homogenous population of native men. Yes, they would! You stupid bastards! They've been doing it for decades, since long before this explosion of immigrants. They are not doing this to punish the immigrant men. If they wanted to do that, they would just fucking deport them. Why are they not just deporting them? Because how the fuck does deporting immigrants help us punish our own men? That's the bottom line. It's like when someone invented that color-changing nail polish that can identify when a drink has been spiked. I don't think that was even real, by the way. I think it turned out to be a hoax. But the point is, the feminist reaction at the time was not, this is great, this will help keep women safe. No, it was, this doesn't punish men, so it's an outrage. We're not interested in solutions that keep women safe. We're only interested in putting more restrictions on men. We want curfews on men. We want discrimination against men. We want to create legal minefields around all men in every direction as far as the eye can see. Not just criminal men, all men. And if you don't think this is something the Nazis would have done if they had won the war, in exactly the same way all the other socialists are currently doing, then I have a bridge to sell you. And you would buy that bridge for $100 billion rather than spending 1 red cent on a fucking wall. Because it's build bridges, not walls. Even if those bridges collapse because you insisted they be built by women. Get with it, people. Solve the feminism problem, and the immigrant problem will solve itself. Address the problem, not just the symptoms of the problem. Deaf ears, I know, but I'd rather shout into deaf ears than silently press my own ear against a deaf cunt. Message ends.
All right. Well, thank you for your feedback and thoughts on this. What do you guys think about what Germany is doing? Does I don't know. Does this mean that the messages are getting strong enough that they have to respond and make it a vocal thing? I know that our free speech in the United States can be contagious in other countries that have never experienced it before, and that scares people in power. But maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. We're going to move on to the next story. All right, this may seem like gossip or drama at first, but there are a couple things about this that I think is worth putting a spotlight on. So let's talk a little bit about this Ashley St. Clair versus Elon Musk situation. So there is a woman who is a somewhat well-known online conservative, in quotes, influencer named Ashley St. Clair. And she has recently come forward with claims that she gave birth to Elon Musk's 13th child 5 months ago. She announced it on X on February 14th, 2025, that's Valentine's Day, after reportedly learning that tabloid media was about to report on it, according to her. St. Clair, who has kept the pregnancy secret for supposedly private and safety reasons, stated that she and Musk were negotiating an agreement on raising their child. Musk's response to these allegations was a cryptic "whoa" on X, without directly confirming or denying the claim. St. Clair's representative, her lawyer, has mentioned awaiting Musk's acknowledgement to end speculation and finalize private agreements. The reaction on social media has been mixed, with some users questioning St. Clair's timing and motives, which is fair because it was on Valentine's Day, given her conservative background and her history of making statements criticized as misogynistic or transphobic, but also she has been known to fight a lot with what she calls the misogynist parts of the right. So the male, I guess you could say just the anti-feminist right, or the red pill right, or whatever. I mean, it's like the language is all over the place regardless. But she was on an episode of Trigonometry, which I'm going to talk about in a second. That's what I know her from, because she was on there saying that we should do something about these male anti-feminist influencers, right? That are like shitting on women online. Meanwhile, she's a single mom, if that's true. She was a single mom before this, so she's double single mom right now. But anyway, the public reaction has been mixed, with some users questioning St. Clair's timing and motives, given her conservative background and history of making statements criticized as misogynistic or transphobic. St. Clair is known for her book, Elephants Are Not Birds, and her association with MAGA and conservative media like the Babylon Bee, which she used to work for. Her, or does maybe still, her decision to go public has led to discussions about Musk's personal life, his public image, and the implications for both their careers amidst ongoing media and public scrutiny. Now, a couple things I want to say before we get into it, okay? It should already be known to everyone that what Elon Musk does with his personal time should not have any impact on the stuff that he's doing in terms of like working with Doge, okay? But there are a lot of people who want to see him fail, and they want to see, by extension, our country to fail. They want to see us fail. So they're going to indulge in all of this nonsense, this noise. But I will say this. So Musk has a lot of kids with a lot of different mommies, okay? Well, at least a few. Let me look at the notes I have here, which I'll be able to tell you guys a little bit more. So Musk has 12 living children. And he has 3 different mothers that we know of. Justine Wilson, they have 6 kids together. Grimes, they have 3 children together. And Siobhan Zillis, they have 3 children together. I'm not sure which one of these women he's married to. I think it's Siobhan. I think that's his wife right now. So Elon Musk is by no means a tradcon at all. So that's right off the bat. People are claiming that because he's working with Trump, that makes him conservative or something. That's obviously not true. These are all just individual people doing their thing to help out. I mean, like, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard were Democrats, and they came over to work with Trump. Elon Musk, obviously,
I thought Tulsi Gabbard was a libertarian.
Well, she was a Democrat, and then she moved towards libertarianism. She was a Democrat for most of her political career, actually.
Okay.
But, she moved towards, I don't know, like, she's probably still... Her views are probably still mostly the same. But the point
Democrat
is,
libertarian like a contradiction in terms? I think it probably is.
I think it is, yes. But the thing is that what I'm saying is that Trump's cabinet is not what the left makes it out to be. It is not a bunch of like hard right Christian nationalists.
Not in lockstep.
No, they're all different. But that's not the most interesting thing. It is, again, Ashley St. Clair is an interesting example because she's kind of an engagement farmer and an attention seeker online. She timed her statement for, Valentine's Day, and also this stuff going on in the Oval Office with Elon Musk going there to talk to Trump about Doge and all the stuff that they were doing. So you have like this really meaningful stuff that the American people are paying attention to, that they want to get answers for. And then she comes out of nowhere and says, "You're pregnant with my baby, and we got to talk about that." And she makes it very public. And so there's a few things to look at that. And then you have the fact that Ashley St. Clair, and this is why I think she's kind of I don't want to overuse the word grifter, but there's definitely some shady shit going on with her. So she was on Trigonometry. And when she was on Trigonometry, she was there. One of the things that they talked about with the guys at Trigonometry is like Konstantin Kisin and the other guy whose name I can't remember. She was basically trying to address what she's calling the misogynistic parts of the right, or the misogynist right, or the male-centered right, or the masculinist right, whatever. And this is the same stuff, by the way, that people like Sydney Watson and although maybe a little bit, but Sydney Watson and Lauren Southern were also talking about, like, this is a problem. We have to address it. Why is there so much misogyny in this thing? And she was a part of that thing, even though she kind of came out of nowhere. And the thing that I think is interesting about that is that, first of all, we don't know if it's true. I've tried to find out if any of this is really confirmed. Everyone's operating under the presumption that it is. that she's got Elon's baby. Okay, we don't know yet, unless there's some news that I did not see. I don't see it right now. But what is interesting is that if it was true, it wouldn't make the MAGA movement look bad. It would only make her look bad. And it would also make a point that I think is interesting, because she is concerned about like the Andrew Tates and the Freshes and Fits and the whatever podcast people, because those are the people she brings up by name on Trigonometry. But why is that? Well, those guys, they're kind of like an example of the harem effect. Like, you have this thing where these guys they're operating at the top levels, they're getting like multiple women. And that's what we're having now. Like, hypergamy is at a point where, you know, a very small percentage of men have access to the most women. And like it or not, Elon Musk is one of those men. Hence, he's got, you know, 13 kids from like several different women, and God knows how many others. Plus, and I thought this was really funny, Elon Musk himself said that he was a big fan of Genghis Khan, who fathered hundreds of kids amidst these claims made by Ashley St. Clair. What kind of man would
like 1 in 200 men in Asia, throughout all of Asia, is a direct descendant of Genghis Khan?
Right. But like what I'm getting at is, though, what are the conditions? What kind of society would we live in where one man could father or sire several children from different women if those women weren't a part of that? Like, how can any one of those women also complain about men complaining about the state of dating and relationships and marriage and family when they're a part of the harem? Like, they're participating in this. So it doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing about it that I found interesting. I don't care about the drama. I don't care about Ashley St. Clair as a person. I know that she's just another, like, you know, attention, like, seeking, you know, kind of like supposed influencer personality, but she's not saying anything groundbreaking. She's not that interesting, but she does sort of highlight, you know, a nature that we're seeing, and the effort to, or the desire to own Elon Musk by saying, oh, you have a kid with me and you're not taking care of your kid. Well, so what? Like, Elon Musk he's not a tradcon, obviously. He's just whatever he is. And you are opening your legs for him, if that's true. And you're just number 13. And what's funniest is that when he was at the White House, he took pictures with Zeller or whatever the most recent woman is. Like, they have pictures together, and they're like sending each other heart emojis online and stuff. And Ashley St. Clair is just like not in the picture. So she's not just, if it's true, she's got a baby with a guy who has no interest in her, and she's not getting like any of the attention that she's trying to seek out. So, but what I wanted to highlight was the fact that Elon Musk is not politically in line with people that he's working with, and that this whole coalition is just a bunch of people with disparaging views trying to accomplish a similar goal. But two, that Ashley St. Clair is an example of the harem effect that we are seeing in our modern society today, where the, you know, women are all looking for the small group of men, and Elon Musk is one of those men. As weird as he is, he's the richest guy in the world, so guess what? You know. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah, and to state what seems kind of obvious, if you don't want a certain matter to be public, then surely the best course of action would be to not make it public. But the logic with which we're being presented is, from Ashley St. Clair, is the media is definitely going to publicize this information, and I know this for a fact. So I'm going to get out ahead of it and publicize it first. And then the thing I don't want to happen will definitely happen. And then at least I'm in charge of my own destiny or something. I'm in charge of the narrative. And I guess this is to deny the media the opportunity to run with this story. Well, they are. They're all talking about this now. whether they think Ashley is a hero and Elon is a Chad, or if they think you're both degenerates and they just want to smear you from the left perspective or the right perspective, the whole world knows about it now and is talking about it. If this bombshell was indeed dropped in some tabloid rag or other, like extra deadbeat Elon Musk fathers an illegitimate child with some far right online thought, I for one would read that and I'd be like, yeah, all right, good one. And Prince Harry was abducted by aliens and someone found the Shroud of Turin at the bottom of a milkshake or whatever. I don't believe you. You're all congenital liars who lie all the time. Why wouldn't you be lying now? And maybe the story would cause a mob of smear merchant reporters to turn up at Ashley's door going, is this true? Do you have any comment? And she could just say nothing. She wouldn't even have to deny it. She could just be like, I'm not even going to entertain this report. Leave me alone. And I would be like, yeah, I wouldn't entertain these fucking cockroaches either. Good for you. And we'd go, remember when the gutter press accused Ashley St. Clair of carrying Elon Musk's child? No, I don't remember that. It went in and out of the news cycle in a day. At the time, I was reasonably sure it was all bollocks. And it immediately fell out of my memory in favor of a million things that are far more important. But since she dropped the story herself, I mean, I'm still not sure it's true. I'm more inclined to believe it when it comes straight from the horse's mouth. I'm more inclined to remember it when it comes in the horse's mouth. From the horse's mouth, sorry. Freudian slip intended. So now I'm left pondering two possibilities. Either Ashley St. Clair is a degenerate single mother, double single mother by two different baby daddies by choice, or she's simply a liar. Neither of these possibilities reflects particularly well on her. So I don't quite understand what she could be achieving other than shooting herself in the foot, or shooting herself in the other foot, or shooting herself in both feet. I'm reminded of a quote by the late David Hume, later made famous by the late Christopher Hitchens. Which is more likely, that the whole natural order is to be suspended, or that a Jewish minx should tell a lie? End quote. Now, obviously, Hume was talking about someone else. You can probably guess who. But it's a quote that becomes more and more apposite as history unfolds before us. And I'm not just being anti-Semitic there, I'm also being quite anti-Christian. So it all balances out quite nicely, and it's technically politically correct. I think I'll leave it there.
Oh.
There you go. I think one of the most obvious things in this situation is that Elon Musk has trusted far too many women.
Oh, yeah, for sure. He really needs to watch some of our videos. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. We don't know if she's telling the truth. We don't have any way. And his response really doesn't give any answer one way or another, and it wouldn't really matter. It's not our business, and it's offensive that she made it everybody's business. I resent having to think about this at all, actually, but that's really the thing that stuck out for me the most in this, is that even one of the smartest men in the world isn't too wise to be beyond trusting women when maybe he should not.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, nonetheless, revealing and interesting, but ultimately I thought it was a interesting case study on the whole. Well, when women generalize negatively about men, they are drawing from personal experience, and that's why it doesn't ring true. So if she is even saying something that's based on something she's actually experienced and not simply farming for attention, her examples, well, they sort of demonstrate her bias. So, when you see these women, for example, these 304s on the whatever podcast whining about men, they're whining about a certain kind of man, not the common man, not the man that they don't see.
They're whining about men they can't control.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. And honestly, this woman had better hope that I wouldn't say that Elon Musk is necessarily a simp. Some people are saying that. Other people are saying he's the Antichrist. So there's a whole range of things there. But he's definitely simp adjacent if this is true. She may desimplify him.
Well, she's probably trying to get some money out of it. Let's be real.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But
he can afford it.
She'd better hope she doesn't desimplify him too much, because every woman on welfare in the country is going to be gunning for her throat after that. Because where do you think Doge is going to go looking next?
Well, they've already exposed a bunch of a social security scam that's like crazy. But go ahead, Mike.
As long as he doesn't get divorced, he gets to keep most of his money.
I don't think he's married.
Exactly. He's smart enough not to get married, so he never has to get divorced.
Yeah.
He's not going to make the same mistake as Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos.
Was he in California?
Well, I don't know. But if she wants
a difference, because they got palimony.
If she wants money, if she wants $1 million a year, that's pocket change to Elon. He's like, yeah, I hand over $1 million a year to all 13 of my children, and I'm still the richest man in the world. So he's as long as he doesn't get embroiled in the marriage courts and all that, he's sort of playing it right if his aim is to father as many children as possible. And that does seem to be he's doing the Genghis Khan thing, because he thinks he's in a simulation. He's trying to win the game. And in case the objective of the game is to pass on your genes to as many people as possible, then he's doing it right. And that's what lots of people think. It's not necessarily a right or left thing. A lot of people have concluded that the meaning of life is to pass on your genes to as many lives as possible. And if that's what he's trying to do, then I on those grounds he's winning. And I disagree. I think there's more to life than that, but he's also doing that. He's also heading up 5 companies.
You know who else? You know who else was like that believed the same thing about passing your genes and all that?
Hitler.
Jeffrey Epstein.
There you go.
Yes, he did. I mean, I'm not saying these guys are the same. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are people. It takes all kinds. So, but yeah, Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. I mean, well, he was, but I don't think he plans on getting married. So, but nonetheless, you make your bed, you lay in it. I don't know what else to tell you, but that's not going to deter anybody. But anyway, Hannah, were you finished with your?
I will say, this is possible. This is not beyond this is a man who dated Amber Heard. Like I said, he's trusted far too many women. Yeah. So we don't know what parts of this story are fact and what parts are fantasy.
He definitely needs to change his taste in women. He needs to re-examine that for sure.
But I will say this. It's kind of proving the incels right.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have the sixes, I guess, and if you don't have all of them, well, there's always IVF. We don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not interested in being in romantic relationships with the women that he fathers children with, and maybe he's keeping his romantic relationships in a different direction. We don't know.
Yeah.
But this woman didn't go for the DNA of some nobody with no money and no looks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Some short guy that nobody ever heard of. So when people accuse incels of making that shit up just to have something to feel bad about, remember this story.
Yeah. There you go. All right, well, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I got to catch up on some super chats and super chows and whatnot. So first, I got a Rumble rant from earlier from NovaFan21 for $1. And he says, Elon takes his child to the White House, Greta Thunberg. And I took that personally. And then Blade Kaiser gave us $5 Rumble rant and says, when I heard the Ashley story, I thought, why would a conservative woman be willing to be a single mother? Then I thought, well, I guess women are going to be to women, which I don't like thinking, but hey, I don't think she's conservative, Blade, but thank you.
Conservative doesn't mean that you don't do the fucking hypergamy thing, as we've discovered since this story dropped.
But she was very critical of women for becoming single mothers. So I mean, that I think that if there's like one conservative value that makes sense, it's to not like have kids out of wedlock. It's like I don't know. That's like step one, I think. Yeah. And she's not following that. But, you know, she's like, I think that there are people who are disingenuous about their beliefs and they don't live according to what they preach. And they are all over the place, you know, politically. And I think she is one of these people. And plus,
they're called women.
Yeah, a lot of them are women, not all of them. But the fact that she went from somebody I never heard of to suddenly like, you know, doing all over the rounds everywhere. And I was like, who is this? Like whenever people come out of nowhere and they become super like internet famous overnight, I become very suspicious. So anyway, I'm not saying she's a fed. I'm just saying there's something artificial going on there. And then like to, you know, get the attention of somebody like Musk. I mean, come on. Okay. Anyway, OIC
there's always a lot of money behind that, and we were looking this week into where that money comes from. So yeah,
and we will continue to. Yeah,
you will find that when you're reading the news, pretty much everything you're reading about is a psyop. If you watch the news on television, pretty much everything you're watching is a psyop. If you're seeing people link to news articles and discuss the news on social media, pretty much everything you're seeing them talk about is a psyop.
Yeah.
That's the sooner you get, we aren't living in a simulation. We're living in a psyop. And the sooner you guys know that, the sooner you guys understand that, you know, the sooner we can start shutting it down.
Yeah. All right. So one more Rumble rant from OIC who says Elon needs to make anime cat girls all real already for $1. Thank you, OIC. And that's it for the Rumble rants. Now I'll read the super chows. So there was one from yesterday that came in right after we stopped. So I'm going to read it because, you know, we're here now. Zeranx yesterday gave us $5 and said, has anyone ever asked feminists how men utilize the power and control alleged at the same time said use of such tactics are being complained about by feminists? And has there ever been any attempt at a satisfactory answer? How men utilize their power and control alleged at the time said use of such tactics are being complained about. And yeah, go ahead.
When you ask a feminist a question like that, her response is very similar to what happens when you catch a cat falling down the stairs by accident, right? As soon as she realizes you noticed, the cat will turn around and bathe her tail. And women similarly will cover their ass when they make a mistake and you point it out. The subject will get changed, right? The allegations will come out. The Darvo attacks will start. But you will never get an explanation. You will never get the answer that you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then I got a super child from Meredith G. Gives us $5 and says, HBR News 490. Honey for the Badgers. And thanks for reminding me why I need to not eat my dinner while listening to the show. I had beef stew. It was good.
Just wait till the next story.
Yeah.
Finish your dinner before you get to the next story.
Yeah, please. And then Richard Bier gave us $5 and says, I would say something about not sticking it in crazy, but the baby was conceived by IVF, so Elon didn't actually stick it in the crazy. However, this technically might not be applicable, though. Well, I don't know if we know that, again, that there is a baby. I mean, maybe there is.
Well, but we don't know that there is his baby.
Yeah.
We don't know anything about this situation.
That's true. A lot of if you were a woman and you were like kind of loose and you banged like different dudes, but one of them happened to be Elon Musk and you got pregnant, I would probably go for the you did it thing because that's where the bank is at. Cha-ching.
IVF doesn't involve any banging.
Well, yeah, but we don't know that that's
her story is that it was IVF.
Is that her story?
Yes.
Okay.
That there was an agreement. He was asking her to keep it quiet, and she blabbed because the media was going to blab. I'll be honest. If she did blab about if this was all true and she blabbed, because he really should be angry with her, because if the media blabbed when the non-couple was not talking about it, if it was true, there could have been lawsuits, because that was their private life that was dug into, and that's stalking, harassment, slander or libel if it's printed, defamation. They would have to prove that they had that information and they knew for a fact. And the thing about IVF is it's a medical procedure, right? It's not just a random service. It's not like going for coffee and having somebody make you a coffee. It's done in a medical office and it's covered by HIPAA. So a random reporter should not be able to just find out who has had IVF, much less who the sperm donor was. The first layer of information is that it happened. The second layer of information is at what facility. And the third layer of information is who else was involved. So there's no way somebody should have been able to get that far into the story unless, she told people in her life and they told reporters, in which case, again, the reporters wouldn't be able to prove that the information they had was factual. They would be printing gossip. But so it wasn't just a stupid mistake that got people talking about her and all that. She prevented herself and possibly him from being able to sue the media for defamation for this story coming out.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know what you guys think about this one in the comments. I'd be curious about your thoughts regarding, this whole thing and some of the ways that we discussed it, tried to shine a different light on it and not make it about the drama. All right. Well, I look forward to seeing your thoughts on that. Let us move on to the last story. This is the face of evil. So in Patas, Peru, a shocking crime of passion unfolded when Catherine Milagros Juarez Bermudez, that's her full name. This is the woman pictured here. Catherine Milagros Juarez Bermudez allegedly murdered her boyfriend. Well, she was arrested. So Jose Antonio Pizan Peña in a gruesome manner. According to reports, Juarez Bermudez discovered that Peña had been unfaithful, leading her to take extreme measures of revenge while he was asleep. This is always the problem, sleeping around women that hate you. She reportedly used a kitchen knife to sever his testicles, an act driven by rage over his infidelity. The attack was so severe that Peña, despite being rushed to the nearest hospital, which was a significant distance away, did not survive his injuries. The aftermath of this...
Are they going to ban kitchen knives in Peru now?
Yeah.
That's the only way to prevent these crimes. Then she'll have to use a cheese grater or something, and that's a lot more difficult.
Oh. The aftermath of this brutal act saw local authorities quickly arresting Juarez Bermudez. The case has since drawn widespread attention due to the nature of the crime, highlighting issues of jealousy and violence in relationships. Police described the incident as a clear case of a crime of passion, noting that such acts are not uncommon but rarely reach this level of brutality. The community of Patas has been left in shock, prompting discussions of the societal pressures and the handling of emotions in relationships. The legal proceedings against Juarez Bermudez are expected to delve into the psychological aspects of her actions alongside the straightforward criminal charges. So they may be making the case for temporary insanity or something like that.
Crime of passion, my ass, by the way.
Yeah.
That's usually a factor that separates first degree from second degree. Like, if you're having a heated argument with someone and during that argument you strike out with your fist or with whatever weapon you happen to be holding at the time, and by chance that causes the person to die, that's like either manslaughter or second degree murder. Maybe I am ignorant of the law here, but surely if you stab someone in their sleep while they pose no threat to you whatsoever and there is no heat of the moment, that is first degree. You planned what you were going to do, you planned when you were going to do it, and you made sure it wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't even a fight. Mm-hmm. And make no mistake, if stabbing someone to death counts as murder, regardless of the degree, then it is worse, much worse, to saw through someone's body with the express purpose of leaving them in two pieces. Stabbing someone once can be a crime of passion in some circumstances. Stabbing someone 2 or 3 times, I mean, at a stretch, that could be a crime of passion if you genuinely think it's the only way to save your own life. But taking the time to actively butcher your victim, even if they're awake at the time, is a first-degree crime, even if you don't intend to kill them. And if you claim you didn't know that sawing off a body part can kill someone, then you are too stupid to exist. If you cut off someone's ear, they can bleed to death. If you cut off the tip of someone's pinky finger, they can bleed to death. If you happen to nick someone in an artery with a razor blade, they can bleed to death. Whether you know this or not, you clearly don't care if this person dies, and that's the point. Displaying a reckless disregard for someone's life is the point. I don't care if you're a 70 IQ imbecile who has no idea how the human circulatory system works, or if you're a cold-blooded psychopath who is determined to end a life. Either way, you are extremely dangerous and you should not be allowed to walk the streets. The only reason this case is considered in any way controversial is because the body part in question is not an ear or a pinky finger. It's a body part with which women cannot empathize. Certain women cannot empathize. Oh, she cut off his toe. Oh, that's awful. I can imagine my toe being cut off. She cut off his nipple. Oh, that's horrendous. I can imagine my nipple being cut off. He cut off her labia. Oh, death row. I want him in the electric chair with a dry sponge and no blindfold, and I want it yesterday. No trial, no nothing. Kill him where he stands and make it as painful as possible. But she cut off his testicles. Lol. What did she do with the testicles? Did she put them in the garbage disposal? Ha ha! I could just imagine them going round and round. It's like putting meatballs in a blender. What's the problem? Do testicles even have blood in them? Lol. Who cares? He must have done something to deserve it. She's obviously a very proud and passionate individual who don't need no man. You go, girl. Furthermore, if a man stabs a woman in the womb via the vaginal canal, well, it depends. Is he trying to kill her, or is he trying to kill someone else? Perhaps a diminutive male specimen, a parasite, if you will, who would otherwise, in the event of his birth, in all likelihood, grow up to be some raging misogynist who goes around stabbing women in the womb. And we can't have that. I think I've said enough. I should stop before I continue this trajectory any further. Let's keep it family friendly. Hey, nothing to see here, people. Remember, we need to save the women from those dastardly men who we don't like. There is nothing else worth addressing. The only thing the government is doing wrong is neglecting to protect women. Shut up. Go away. La, shut up. Not listening. Leave a like and a comment, and don't forget to share, because sharing is caring.
I just want to say, passport bros, don't go to Peru. Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, you're buzzing.
Years ago, when I was discussing intimate partner violence on Reddit and talking about one of the things that we've had to talk about quite a bit for a long time, really, because feminists keep harping on numbers, is that domestic violence intimate partner violence is more frequently perpetrated by women than by men. The research has been out for a long time showing that...
Mike, you're buzzing. Mike, you're buzzing. I'm going to mute him.
All right. Showing that 70% of one-way intimate partner violence is female perpetrated, and that two-way intimate partner violence is associated with more frequent perpetration among women, but not among men, which means that even among two-way violent relationships, women are perpetrating sometimes and the men are not hitting back. So the women are hitting first most of the time. And this is something that feminists would like to deny. And so since that information came out, they wrote papers and did research where they asked women what their reasons were for hitting. And it's interesting the way they tried to deal with this. Like, they have the power and control wheel in their Duluth model, where they try to make it out that men are using violence to control women. So if a man feels that a woman isn't obeying him, or if he thinks that she's too free with her attention to other people and stuff like that, his violence in that moment is an attempt at controlling her behavior, right? You can't hit a woman for saying the wrong thing. You can't hit a woman for cheating on you. You can't hit a woman for disrespecting you. But when they talked about female violence, those were justifying factors. A woman was acting in self-defense if she felt disrespected in the moment. A woman was acting in self-defense if she thought a man was cheating on her. And a woman was acting in self-defense if she thought that a man was rude or verbally aggressive toward her. And this tolerance for women engaging in violence as a means of controlling male behavior and calling it self-defense when a woman is using violence to control male behavior, even when it's nothing to do with aggression. The man isn't doing anything to her. He's not hitting her. He's not trying to rape her. He's not engaging in any kind of aggression. He's not trying to steal her money or anything. All right. Just doing things that she disapproves, right? The things that make her angry. That's treated as self-defense. That convinces women that they can get away with things. And they expect to get away with things. And when the media reports on stuff like this as a crime of passion, rather than a woman using intimate partner violence to control a man's behavior, right? How dare you be with someone else instead of me? Right? That is why women like this feel entitled to act like that. It's exactly what feminists would tell you about a man who does this kind of thing. Right? If a man kills his girlfriend because she's cheating or he thinks she's cheating, we get told that society approves of that kind of behavior and treats that kind of behavior like it's normal. And that's why this guy felt like he could do that. Right? But who is doing that with women? Feminists. Feminists treat this kind of behavior like it's normal. Feminists invented a defense in court for when a woman who is in a relationship where she feels that she's being abused, and she might be being abused, she might even be in danger, right? But she chooses not to use the vast network of domestic violence shelters and domestic violence advocacy that is paid for by the national government of every first world country in the world, and kills the guy instead in his sleep. Right? They have a whole defense for that. They call it battered woman syndrome. It doesn't work for men either. This has to stop. This woman didn't commit a crime of passion. She engaged in an attempt at using power to control this man's behavior, and she killed him. She acted on rage that stemmed from entitlement to control his behavior. Right? She felt entitled to his loyalty. We don't know that he had a reason to be loyal to this woman. We know that she got so out of control when she was angry that she killed him. That usually isn't a one-off. What kind of relationship was that? What kind of household was he living in? What kind of environment did she subject him to? Maybe he cheated because she was a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Maybe he cheated because he didn't have affection at home. Maybe he cheated because he didn't feel loved. We don't know. But I know one thing. Regardless of why he did it, why he cheated, it's not justification for murder. And we would never see this excuse. Oh, it was a crime of passion. If it was a man who did this killing, who killed his girlfriend or his wife for cheating on him, for not being loyal, for seeking affection elsewhere. Right? This is something that only gets said when a woman does something violent and horrible. Stop accepting that. Don't accept that. Don't use that language. Don't let other people use that language. Don't let them get away with it. When somebody says sexual relationship instead of rape, when they're talking about a story where a teacher raped one of her students because the student's a boy. No, that's not a sexual relationship. He's underage. That's rape. That's statutory rape. And when someone says crime of passion for something like this, no, it's not a crime of passion. He was asleep. That's murder. It's just straight up murder.
Yep. Well, we'll follow up if we like learn like what actually happens. We'll follow up with the follow-up story on another news show. So hopefully she just gets thrown in jail, but I have no idea what they're going to do, like what the Peru laws are around domestic violence. I don't know how much USAID money was poured into, anti-toxic masculinity programs or the Duluth model or whatever because they're exporting it everywhere for millions and millions of dollars. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean,
Latin America was heavily targeted too. We did see that.
Yeah, Latin America was heavily targeted, and that probably includes South America, a lot of countries. So
maybe she'll become a celebrity like Lauren Bobbitt.
Yeah. Lorena Bobbitt? Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah.
I try not to remember her name because I don't want to make her a celebrity like she became.
Well, yeah, I mean, let's hope not. But anyway, that's it for the story. So we're going to go into the patron show, probably chit chat, or maybe look at this article from Arwa Madawi. Elon Musk keeps bringing his kids to work and the reasons aren't cute at all. While, of course, she secretly wants to be IVF'd herself, I'm sure. But anyway, if you guys want to join us in the patron show, become a Badger yourself by going to feedthebadger.com and setting up a monthly subscription. $5 a month will get you into the Discord server where you'll be able to watch all the bonus content and as well as enjoy a lot of the additional sort of like, community oriented things. Like today, I assume it's game night and they're going to be playing like Cards Against Humanity or something like that. So please consider joining us for that. feedthebadger.com/subscribe. If you want to try out the Discord, you can go to badgernation.online. And if you want to send us a message anytime after the show is over, we'll be sure to read it out on the next relevant show. Go to feedthebadger.com/justthetip and send us a message. All right. Thanks, guys, so much for coming on the show. If you guys like this video, please hit like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, leave us a comment, let us know what you guys think about what we discussed on the show today, and please share this video because sharing is caring. Thank you guys so much for coming on today's episode of HBR News, and we will see you next Tuesday.
Men's rights activists are machines. dude. Okay? They are literal machines. They are talking point machines. They are impossible to fucking deal with, especially if you have like a couple dudes who have good memory on top of that too. Holy shit, you're fucked.